think with the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Way rock the baby to sleep.
Calenzo morning. Ewing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he's going to try to get one more shot off the left foot. The buzzer.
How about that?
Steps over to Ron Lewis. He's got about three. He'll put up a three.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Boom Broadcasting presents Three from Deep. I'm your host, Jason Calenzo. Welcome to the show. Thank you guys for joining me here on this final Monday of July. Hard to believe the summer is almost over. August creeping up on us here very, very soon. It's a little sad summer's going away, but you know what that means? It means we got college football coming up, pro football coming up, the NBA season won't be too far behind that. We got the NHL. We got lots of great stuff going on. And guys, stop what you're doing. Hit that like and subscribe button. Get on the Boom Broadcasting bandwagon, because with all this great stuff coming up, we're going to have a lot of content here. So jump on and check out Boom Broadcasting, whether it's going live, whether it's pre-recorded shows, whether it's doing reels. We do all kinds of stuff here just to kind of keep you guys entertained and keep you talking and maybe get you thinking a little bit here. So if anything, I'm happy if I can at least get you thinking a little bit. So some of the crazy stuff I say, if that sparks a conversation between your friends or family or coworkers, then I'm pretty happy, and I'm glad I can do that to you. But guys, also too, sponsors welcome. I have to jump in here real quick and kind of let you guys know there's a lot of podcasters out there that they don't get paid to do this. They put forth the money and effort and time and work and sleepless nights and just, money. They put all that money out because, again, guys, producing a podcast is not cheap. But there's a lot of great content providers out there that do it on their own. So if you know anybody, or you guys, if somebody's out there wants to jump on board Three from Deep and wants to be a sponsor, and I would gladly advertise you here. I got a little space for rent there, so check it out. Please reach out to me in the comments, and I'll DM you, and we'll kind of get something going on here. But yeah, guys, but we appreciate your support. Again, here, we do what we do because we love to talk. We love to entertain you guys. For me, this is my therapy. I like to come on here and kind of just let some of the stuff that's in my mind come out and talk to you guys about it. And I'm glad I can entertain you. And I know there's a lot of people out there that enjoy the show, and I'm glad. So if you do enjoy the show, drop me a comment. Drop me a question, spark a conversation. Don't be afraid to do that. I love hearing whether it's positive, negative. I don't care. It just means you're watching and I've sparked something in you. So please, if you got something you want to talk about, let me know. If you want me to sponsor you, let me know. I'll jump on and do that. But I love to do what I do because this has been a lot of fun for me. This has been therapeutic for me here, especially in a world that sometimes can be overwhelming. And guys, last week was extremely overwhelming for a lot of people. It was a rough one. And my demographic, I'm a Gen Xer, I think you want to call it. I was born in 1975. So I'm not going to do the math. You guys do that. But man, we lost 3 iconic people last week. Theo Huxtable, because who growing up, in the 80s, early 90s, didn't watch the Cosby Show. So to lose Malcolm Jamal Warner was rough. That was tough. Sad to see what happened to him drowning, heartbreaking, especially at a young age. And then we lost the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne. Whether you were a fan of Black Sabbath, of Ozzy Osbourne, the reality show, even if you weren't a heavy metal person or a hard rock person, you kind of still respected what he did to that genre. He was kind of the godfather of it. It just, every rock and roll heavy metal band that's out there kind of owes a lot to Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath, not just the musical, but the persona of partying and being absolutely insane. I don't condone anything he did because he did a lot of crazy stuff, and I'm shocked that he lived as long as he did and lived a great life. But to lose a rock icon, and then we lost the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan. The 8-year-old kid in me was heartbroken because I'm losing bits and pieces of my childhood here as I get older, and that's one of the things they don't kind of tell you about as you age. Bits and pieces you are going to die off as you age, and watching these people that I grew up with, that whether I idolized or if you idolized them or you respected them, or just as a kid, just innocent curiosity, and watching them throughout the years, to become an adult and kind of understand everything that comes along with what they've went through. When you talk about the business of things, the ugly side of TV and movies and entertainment and music, it kind of jades you a little bit. I know Hulk Hogan had a little bit of a checkered past when it comes to those things when you look at it from the adult perspective, but looking at it from the 8, 10, 12-year-old me who grew up watching, Saturday morning cartoons. And then once the cartoons are done, you rolled over into wrestling and watched a lot of WWF wrestling and NWA wrestling back in the day when it was still kind of coming out of the 70s. And you see that with a lot of sports and entertainment things, coming out of the 60s and 70s, those dark periods, and then get into the 80s, and then boom. And you're wondering, why am I talking about Hulk Hogan on an NBA podcast? And, his passing kind of got me thinking. I was lucky enough, knock on wood, to be where I am now and the age that I am. I am lucky enough. I got to see Wayne Gretzky in his prime. I got to see Michael Jordan in his prime. And I got to see Hulk Hogan in his prime. And how does, that relate? And I started thinking, around the same time in that mid to late 80s, when the NBA was just dragging itself out of the 70s, out of the dark ages, thanks to Magic and Bird. Magic and Bird took it coast to coast. They brought the NBA back from the dead. And then this guy came along, Michael Jordan, who took it to another stratosphere. And that's why I will always put Michael Jordan as the GOAT, not just because of the basketball, the stuff he did on the court, which to me he's still the greatest of all time. Michael Jordan. You have guys that have retired for 20 years, still have nightmares about Michael Jordan. That's how insanely good of a basketball player he was. But I'm like, the comparison is kind of eerie. You look at the NBA, the way it pulled itself out of the 70s, the way it started getting bigger, and then Michael Jordan came on the scene. The shoes, the dunk contest, the dunk heard around the world, the tongue, the commercials, sneakerheads. You guys with the $10,000 plus worth of sneakers in your house, if you got those right now, that's because of Michael Jordan, period. Air Jordans started this thing. Can't dispute it. Would have never been what the sneaker game with guys and how they are, their sneaker contracts and all that stuff. Michael Jordan, again, changed the game. You talk about a guy, a trailblazer. So I'm thinking, like, well, we just lost Hulk Hogan. So I sat here and started thinking about it, and I'm like, man, their trajectory was kind of similar. You had, wrestling was, especially in the 60s and 70s, very dark. Wrestling has been around for thousands of years. And professional wrestling, as we know it, has been around for a pretty long time. But, it was kind of a fringe sport, was done in dark gymnasiums. It was not very mainstream. And then the 80s came along, and then TV. So, and this was one of those spectacles on TV that kids my age, growing up in the 70s, 80s, early 90s, you were mesmerized. But all of a sudden, there's these guys that are larger than life with personalities that were nuts. You talk about some of my favorites: Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Coco Beware. But you kind of go back with Randy Savage, Macho Man, Roddy Piper. So I mean, Ric Flair. Whoo! So you had a lot of great wrestlers that started bringing their persona to television, and kids were watching it, and we were glued. You could not look away. You saw guys in little underwears running around in a ring, and it was amazing. And it sparked something. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes along, Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania, changed the game. He took it from gymnasiums to sold out arenas. You talk about WrestleMania, the first one in '85, where Hulk Hogan and Mr. T beat Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper. But then you had the 1987 WrestleMania, the slam heard around the world when Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant. I mean, those moments are iconic, and sport and entertainment today would not be what it is without Hulk Hogan in those moments. And that's why I've kind of linked them and him with kind of like a Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan did the same thing. The dunk heard around the world. His free throw line dunk, tongue out, the poster, the shoes, iconic, historic, changed the game forever. Sport would not be what it is today. Not just basketball, but every sport today would not be what it is. The media juggernaut, the cultural significance of what these gentlemen do with blood, sweat, and tears, giving us their athletic ability and entertaining us. I would not be here today talking to you. The things up in my room probably, wouldn't hit as hard as I am a sports nut. But yeah, it was very deep week last week, losing three. Although I got to throw my fourth in there. Chuck Mangione passed away, guys. If you don't know the King of the Flugelhorn, hit song "Feels So Good," you probably heard it in an elevator somewhere. But shout out Chuck Mangione, rest in peace. Love my jazz. But to lose three icons with Theo, Ozzy, and now the Hulkster, Hulkamania, you start to wonder. And this is when, for me, as I get older, this is where nostalgia becomes more popular than new. I like some of the new stuff out there. Some of the new hip hop is okay. Some of the newer movies are all right. New sports, everything else. I mean, there's a lot of new out there. But I find myself liking the old stuff. I will be an 80s, 90s hip hop head forever. I love older movies. So where nostalgia gives you a better feeling than the new, I get it as you get older. But yeah, man, rough week last week, man. Rough week. But it was interesting how I kind of started thinking about how Jordan and Hulk Hogan just kind of defined an era in that 80s and 90s, and how they took their sports to a global audience, created iconic brands that will still live on today, and the sport that they represented would not be what it is without them. So shout out Michael Jordan, the GOAT. Hulk Hogan, rest in peace. I know checkered. The adult part of me, you start thinking of some of that stuff, but the 8-year-old kid in me is sad because it's a part of my childhood that just died off, and it's deep, man. It gets a little deep. So, but let me know what you guys think. Do you see maybe what I'm talking about when I talk about the entertainment and that factor of how those guys changed the game forever? So let me know what your thoughts are, man. Am I crazy? Does nostalgia hit for you harder than the new? I'd like to hear from you guys. Let me know. So we'll jump in here. We'll get off of that because I'm feeling a little melancholy, but I'm getting a little better. I'm feeling a little better now. This is a new week. We're gonna think positive this week. Think very, very positive. So I want to jump into the summer league, guys. I didn't really talk too much about the summer league last few shows. I like watching some of it, but it is it's like watching preschool preseason in the NFL. Like, you love watching these guys, you love seeing the rooks play, but it's like, okay, how much stock do you put in it? They sat a lot of their stars. You look at like Cooper Flagg only played a couple of games. Dylan Harper only played a couple of games. VJ Edgecombe, for the 76ers, only a couple of games. Con Canoople, and I know I'm probably saying his name wrong, who plays for Charlotte, actually played the whole summer league and showed out. And I'll get in with that here a little bit. Ace Bailey struggled a little bit. He's got a little hip injury, but played a couple of games. We'll see how he bounces back from that, with his drama and how that started there in Utah. But yeah, we had the NBA 2K26 Summer League most valuable player was Kyle Flipowski. Averaged 29.3 points a game, 56% field goal shooting, 7.7 assists for the Utah Jazz. So Utah, you got yourself a little bit of a player there. I know Utah was the worst team in the league last year. How they didn't get closer in the draft, I don't know. That's that whole draft lotto thing, which I don't still not crazy about. But the NBA 2K26 Summer League, Kyle Flipowski was your most valuable player. And then we have the All-Star Summer League first team. And I'm gonna rattle some of those guys off here. Some of these names you're probably gonna hear coming up in this NBA league. Nick Clifford for the Kings, Kyle Flipowski for the Jazz. I can't remember. David Jones Garcia for the Spurs. Can't even read my own handwriting. It's terrible. Jordan Miller for the Clippers. And Terrence Shannon Jr. for the T-Wolves. So we had some guys showing out here. And there's some teams on there that really need the help. You talk about the Kings, the Jazz desperately needed some help. Spurs are going to be dangerous. Spurs are going to be dangerous this year. The Parisian Pillar, Victor Wembanyama with De'Aaron Fox, watch out. And with Dylan Harper on there too, getting yourself them. And the Spurs develop their rookies, man, are phenomenal. That is probably one of the best organizations when you talk about developing young players. But Jordan Miller for the Clippers. The Clippers got an old head back. We'll talk about that here real quick. But yes, welcome back, CP3. It looks like Beal is giving up his number 3 to giving it to CP3. So it's interesting to see him back there. That Clippers team I don't know if they say they got better. They definitely got older, which is a little bit there with Harden and the Claw, Kawhi Leonard. Chris Paul on there now too. We'll see what Chris Paul has left in the tank. Look, I'm a huge fan of Chris Paul. Actually, fanboy real quick. I was in Vegas his rookie year, and I got to meet him at the airport. He was in a wheelchair. He had just had his surgery. And I walked by him in the security line, and I gave him a what's up. He gave me a hello, nicest guy in the world. He was pretty cool. Said hello to me, just shout out real quick. But man, excited to see. I wish CP3 would have stayed in San Antonio. I would have loved to seen Harper learn under him. One of the greatest point guards of all time. But CP3 back in LA, so that'll be interesting to see what that Clippers team does. And then the T-Wolves just getting a little bit stronger with Terrence Shannon Jr. And that second team, so that NBA 2K26 All Summer League second team, you had Ron Holland II for the Pistons, who are that's a team on the rise next year. We'll talk about that here in a hot minute. Isaac Jones for the Kings, another Kings player stepping up here. Con Knuppel for the Hornets. He's going to be something special for the Hornets. It stinks that he's on the Hornets, because you hope that he's good because he's good, not just because he's on a bad team and he looks that good. But I think he's going to be something special for the Hornets, and we're actually going to talk about the Hornets here in a little bit. AJ Mitchell for the Oklahoma City Thunder, the champions. Yeah, they just, if they just keep getting better, watch out. Thunder Dynasty. Thunderous Dynasty incoming. And then KJ Simpson for the Hornets, another Hornets player. They need all the help they can get. But the Hornets playing out in the Summer League, balling, winning the Summer League championship. So congratulations, beating the Kings. And again, Knuppel playing really, really well. I think he's going to be a heck of a special player. And we'll talk about those Hornets here in a second. But you had your scoring leaders. Kyle Flipowski for the Jazz, over 29 points. Even in Summer League, that's pretty impressive. 29.3 points. You had G Leaguer Drew Time for the Nets, 25.3 points. In his fourth Summer League, Quentin Jackson for the Pacers, 24 points. I think he's going to be very, very important to the Pacers this year. Not having Halliburton, losing Miles Turner. The Pacers are going to need all the help they get, all hands on deck. So watch out for Mr. Quentin Jackson putting in some work and really trying to make a name for himself there. Reed Shepherd for the Rockets, 23 points a game. Rockets, man, those Rockets are going to be dangerous. KD on there, Amen Thompson, Alfredson Gunn. Oof. I really like Oklahoma City to repeat, man, but those Rockets are right there. Terrence Shannon Jr., 22.7 points. Matisse Bunzels, I know I'm saying that wrong, but the only thing the Bulls have to look forward to is Buzelis. Excuse me, I'm not going to say his name right. Dropping 22.5 points a game. But Buzelis, with some nasty dunks last year, can he develop into something? Because, man, I hate the Chicago Bulls as a Knicks fan. Broke my heart how many times? But it breaks my heart to see a big market team, a historic team, floundering. When the Bulls are down there with the Wizards and the Hornets and the Pelicans, that to me is blasphemous. But they need to do something. So Buzelis, let's see if he can do something. So Summer League guys, it's over. We'll see what some of these guys do. Will some of them make the team? Will some of them kind of just be G League guys? It'll be interesting to see, but I am really, really excited for this NBA season. We have a great crop of rookies coming out. We have new teams bubbling up. Now they got OKC, Oklahoma City finally winning their first chip. You got a lot of, Boston's going to be sliding back. Indiana's going to be sliding back. Let's see, my Knicks if they can vault forward here. So, but we'll jump in here, real quick, and we're going to talk. I've already broke down a little bit the Atlantic Division. I think the Knicks are going to win that. We did the Central, which I think the Pistons. Watch out for those Detroit Pistons. They gave the Knicks a hard play last year, but their defense and J.B. Bickerstaff and Cade Cunningham and what he has done for that team. Watch out for the Detroit Pistons this year, guys. This is where a lot of those teams are going to start bubbling up. And there's a couple of them in this Southeastern Division too. So we'll talk about that. But first things first, let's talk about number 5. In the Southeast Division, the worst, I don't want to say the worst franchise in sports, but right now they are teetering on the worst franchise in sports. The Washington Wizards, I live here in Northern Virginia, and the shenanigans with trying to build a stadium in Virginia, their ownership group is pretty bad. They put a product on the court that is, I don't even know, and I hate saying this because the guys they have on that squad are NBA players. God bless them for making an NBA team. I could not do it. That's why I'm sitting here. I'm 5'0", and I can shoot a little bit, but not good enough to make the NBA. But Malcolm Brogdon, Alex Sarr, that second pick they had in the 2024 draft, that's about it. So the Washington Wizards are my number 5. I have them pegged for about 18 wins next year. I think they're going to be the worst team in NBA. I think they're going to have a historic losing streak again. Washington. Look, the Commanders turn it around. Have been doing something special there in Washington. It is now the Wizards' turn. First things first. Drop Wizards. Bring back the Bullets. Sparks and look, I know the Bullets name in the 80s when there was the whole shooting and DC thing going on. Unfortunately, there is gun violence in every city and in every state in this country, which is disgusting, but that's a whole nother topic. We won't even get on that. But change the name back to the Bullets. Bring the throwbacks back. You guys got to do something. Go out there and try to get you a superstar. You got to do whatever you can, but they don't. They just flop and flounder and trade their guys away. And they are just one of the worst organizations in the NBA, if not the worst. Look, the Jazz were last year, and I think they're going to do much better this year, and at least are a better organization. But disappointing Wizards. Get out there, do something. Change the game. Change the way you do things, because whatever you're doing, it ain't working. Number 4, we're going to go with the Hornets. 19-63 last year, but I think they're going to be better. And it all comes down to can LaMelo Ball just focus on playing basketball and be healthy the whole year. He is an unbelievable talent, but he's just more concerned about the fashion stuff and the internet clicks than he is playing basketball. I mean, I see him all over the place with, the shoes and, the cars and the outfits or whatever. Dude, that don't mean nothing if you can't play ball. And you can ball. You're the best ball brother. You have unbelievable talent, but you got to stay healthy and stay on the court. And the only way you're going to do that, excuse me, is commit, exercise, taking care of your body. Stop doing some of the weird shit, man. But I got them up to 36 wins this year. I don't think they make that huge leap, but I do think they do a heck of a lot better this year. Colin Sexton, Con Canoople. I really like that addition on there. I think he's going to be something special. That rookie coming in, playing with them. Ball stays healthy. You got him, Bridges. So you got a few guys on that squad that can ball. It's a young team. But can Charlotte make some moves? Can they get maybe a crafty veteran that's going to help this young squad? Can they do some things? Look, I again, looking back, Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning. I love, my man, Muggsy Bogues. Let's go back. Let's go way back to those Hornets, which I miss. But Charlotte, you got a chance, but I got you at 36 wins this year. Not quite there yet, but you're on the rise. Make some better choices. Make some better moves in ball. Focus on playing ball. Not tattooing your toes and all that other weird stuff, man. Number 3, I know this is going to hurt. I'm sorry, Mr. Michael Davis, but the Heat, I'm not crazy about, your offseason that you've had. I got you about 500 ball club. I think you're 41-41. Tyler Hero, calling you out. You're supposed to be the guy. You're supposed to be the next big thing. I really haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen you put the team on your back and take them to the next stratosphere. I don't know. Is it time for the Heat to move on, trade him, and get what you can for him now? Bam Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins, still a solid team. Kasparas Giannakunis, I know I'm saying that wrong, but they're new rookie who I really like, who was probably the steal of the draft. Davion Mitchell, Jaime Jaquez Jr. So Miami, you got a squad. I just think you're missing something. You're missing like the one guy. You're missing Kevin Durant, but he's not there. He's in Houston. So I have you in a 500 ball club. We'll see. And a lot of that has to do with, can Tyler Hero take the step forward and be the guy that everybody is waiting for him to be? Can he be a superstar? Can he be launched into the top 10, top 15 conversation? I can't even put him there. Sorry, Heat, step it up. 37 wins last year, so I think you do better, but you just need something else. And the something else to me is the hero factor. Can Tyler Hero become the one? We'll see. My second ranked team in that Southeast division is the Atlanta Hawks. I have them around a 500 ball club too. I love Trae Young, even though he loves showing out in the Garden and breaks Knicks fans' hearts all the time. The addition of Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn, but can Porzingis stay healthy? He's yet to have really a healthy season full under his belt. So is that really going to help Trae Young? Does Trae Young have enough around him? Alexander Walker, Kennard. He's got some guys, but is that enough for Trae? Ice Trae. Is that enough for him to make moves in this division? I don't think so. I still think you're right there with Miami. You got some guys, but it's just not enough to take it to that next level, because right now there are some good teams, especially in the East. There's some good teams out there. I know Boston's fallen back. I know Indiana's fallen back. There's some teams that are still just not quite there. So you have a chance to kind of feed on that. But Hawks, this is it. This is that year where I think, again, Trae needs to take that step forward, get the guys around him, and take them to the next level. Get on that Luka level. Because if not, maybe Atlanta needs to move on from Trae Young. Maybe he needs to go somewhere, Atlanta, take a step back, do a little rebuild. But again, 500 ball club. I think the Hawks and the Heat are going to battle to see who's that, better team right there in that division. And my number one in that Southeast division right now is the Orlando Magic, man. Watch out for the Orlando Magic. The addition of Desmond Bane, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, Paulo Blancharo, Desmond Bane, Wendell Carter Jr., Anthony Black. They have a squad. It's a young squad. It's kind of an unproven squad. They did make the playoffs. Little bit of noise. They kind of, punched the Celtics like one time, and then Celtics crushed them. But I think they need to stay healthy. Paulo stays healthy for the whole year. Franz stays healthy for the whole year. Excuse me. The addition of Desmond Bane. That is a top team, not only in this division, but in the East. I got them almost cracking 50 wins. I got them about 49 wins. I think they're right there. They're on that cusp. I just want to see if they can stay healthy and how those big three play together. Because Desmond Bain, he's a beast. I mean, that dude fills out a jersey like nobody else in the NBA, man. He is a monster, but he's also good. He can also ball. I don't know if it because on the Grizz, he just kind of disappeared a little bit with the jaw drama and some of that other stuff. But man, watch out for the Orlando Magic. They are coming. They are coming for the East. They are coming to take some of those slipping back teams' spots. So I have them first in the Southeastern Division. So that's the Wizards, the Hornets, the Heat, the Hawks, then the Magic. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Am I crazy? Well, don't answer that question. But is my list okay? Or do you have somebody do you have the Hawks making that leap? I just can't put them there. I got to keep Orlando there. So, guys, I love being on here with you. I appreciate you jumping on here with me and watching. Shout out to everybody that's been watching the last, especially the last month or so here in the off season. So I appreciate that. I mean, it's one thing to be watching the show during the regular season when there's all kinds of NBA going on and stuff, and I got tons of things to talk about. But to support my show and to jump on here during the off season, guys, much love. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate that. What else can I say? But I'll be back next week. We'll talk some more NBA. We'll see if anything pops up here. But guys, thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you get a chance, pop on there. Give me a roll call. Drop your hashtag name and then where you're from. Again, I'm Jason Calenzo up here. I'm here in Northern Virginia. So, just give me a shout out. Shout out to everybody out there watching. I appreciate it. And again, guys, if you know anybody who wants to sponsor, jump on here. I got a space here. I'll talk about anything and everything. So, guys, I love y'all. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Peace.